Welcome back everyone, this is Sean Thomas and we're looking at ARK Survival Evolved. So I'm here today to talk to you about how to choose the server that is right for you. Alright, so when you want to join a server, if you're not joining a local server or hosting your own, that's definitely an option, and I do recommend a single player version for when you're getting started learning the game, or if you just do not want to have any interaction with other players. Going into the standard available servers, especially the official, is definitely going to increase the difficulty, as you have to then rely on your social skills as you interact with other players. So let's take a look at that. So assuming you do want to have other players around, you'd come into here, and then the first thing you see as soon as you open it up is a mass of servers, 515 after it got done refreshing. And some things to know when you're looking at this. First, bottom left has a server filter. So if you want official, this is where you want to be. If you want unofficial, you can select that. As you can see, there's quite a few more servers here that are unofficial, and there's some that are password protected. In fact, I think most of these are going to be password protected, so you might get invited to a private server. Alright, quite a few. We're over 1,000 just about now, yep. So let's go ahead and move on from there. So they have you'll also notice that there's far fewer players in the unofficial, and it's still ticking away on more servers. Alright, alternatively you have some non-dedicated sessions, and you can see here that it's very low on players as well. So what you really want to aim for is likely the official, and once you find a server that you like, you can add it to your favorites, and then your favorites will show up in that filter down list. It's really helpful. Also, if you create a survivor on one of those official servers and you forget to add it to favorites and you forget the number, and it's quite possible, I mean, I think I've forgotten some of my guys as well. So if you create a server or create a character on one of these servers and you don't send it to favorites and you don't remember which one it is, don't worry, you haven't lost everything. There's a option for searching by your survivors. So these are the servers that you have created survivors on will show up here. And then definitely at this point add it to favorites, especially if you start creating additional characters that you're just messing around with. You also can search by where your friends are at. I currently have no friends in sessions. Somebody please make me your friend. I'm lonely. Alright, so back on the official. Just a little creepy, right? Okay, so finding the server that's right for you. So there's the standard official server. So if you're looking for a vanilla kind of a mix of PvP and PvE, you probably want to aim for one of the standard official servers, and that's where you're going to find likely a large amount of the population. This is kind of a middle ground, if you will. There's also the PvE to avoid all the PvPing going on. It becomes more of a social aspect. If you wanted to find PvE servers, you just type in PvE at the top and it would sort by that. You see the indicator here, PvE. It's an official server. There's no special things beyond the fact that you can't hurt other players. What these turn into is mostly large, vast expanses of cities and very few dinosaurs, and quite a bit of lag because of all the rendering of the cities. All the different structures people build, they're not destructible. They will decay over time, and they will come up for demolish after players have been offline for a significant amount of time. So I tend to avoid PvE, but if you don't want anybody messing with your structures and you don't mind people rushing in for land grab and throwing foundations everywhere and having very little resources and dinosaurs to play with, then this may be the server that's right for you. I might be a little biased there. Alright, so we've talked about the standard server, the PvE server, and then there's also PvP. Okay, so when you look at the PvP, there you see the hardcore indication here, and then there's primitive. So there's some options here on PvP. So primarily PvP without the hardcore is roughly the same thing as a standard official server, in my opinion. There isn't much change there. And this is for official servers, mind you. You also see some statements like primitive, and we mentioned hardcore. And there's indications of EU, so you can know what Oceanic and European, and the ones that don't have that are going to be American servers. Alright, so with that PvP indicator and you identify hardcore, what that means, hardcore servers, you're going to have one life per character you create. You create that character, you play, you tame dinosaurs, you build structures. If you die, you lose all your structures, you lose all your dinosaur tames, and you lose all of your levels and all the gear that you've got on your guy. With one exception, if you are in a tribe, the tribe inherits all the same dinosaurs, they share it. So when your character dies, the tribe maintains that ownership of the dinosaur, the structures, and if there's somebody in the proximity, they can pick up your loot, at which point you can then create a new character and be invited back into that tribe. They can give you back your loot, you can get right back on that dinosaur, and you can actually start using the tribe's resources to quickly level back up again. So it is a painful server to be on if you're not comfortable with severe penalties for your actions. Then this may not be the right server for you, but it's definitely a very rewarding server. People will be less likely to grief you when they know that at any point they could be overwhelmed and taken out themselves. So yes, you can be pretty powerful on a server, but at the same time, anybody that gets up to like a long neck could be sniping your Pteranodon while you're flying over really high up, and then they could be pinging you away while you're parachuting down. So there's lots of ways where lower level or smaller tribes can harass the larger tribes on a hardcore server with some really real penalties. Alright, so PvP hardcore, that's where I like to be, and I'm a little biased towards that. But you also have additional flavors such as primitive. So in ARK Survival Evolved, there's different tech tiers. You start out building thatch structures and wearing cloth armor. You build yourself up to leather, and then you can get into some of the chitin armor from bugs, and then you can also mine and gather metal to make flak armor. Well, with that comes some of the more high-level tech, where you can have electronics used to create generators, air conditioning systems, refrigerators, turrets, lighting. It gets pretty crazy with all the different tech that's available to you. And then there's likely going to be alien tiers that are coming out in the next few months. So with that, there are players that prefer to stay in the Stone Ages, literally, and so they go to primitive servers. And I haven't actually tried it out, but it sounds like a really fun concept. I'm considering giving it a go. I do like having the full spectrum of the game available to me, so that's why I haven't really delved into that yet. But with the stone tiers, things get really interesting. Like if you wanted to breed, it becomes very difficult to manage the temperature, rather than with the electronics side. You can do air conditioning systems and maintain the egg's temperature so that it hatches, and you can move on into the baby phases of the dinosaur breeding. Alright, so another neat thing with the primitive is that because everything's stone at the highest tier, the only way of, you don't have any explosives to destroy the stone, but there are constructions. You can build platforms on the back of saddles, and you can actually have ballistas and catapults and things, to knock out those stone structures. And taming a Gigantosaurus, those Gigantosauruses can also destroy stone structures. So if you're building primitive, if you build high up, you'll be able to, if you're on a mountainside, you'll be able to protect yourself against Gigantosauruses. And the only way of getting the catapults, if you're fairly high up, is going to be on the back of Quetzals. Those are the big flying dinosaurs that can have platforms and carry ballistas and trebuchets, etc. So having a lot of plant turrets will help shoot down those guys. And I mean a lot of plant turrets, since you don't have auto turrets available to you. And also players helping to defend those bases is quite crucial. Alright, so I hope that this helped you out in identifying the server that's right for you. Please mash that like button, please subscribe and share. These things are free to do, and when you subscribe, you'll be made aware of additional content as it's released. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.